Hey guys, what we're going to bring to you today is the Wolfman Guerrilla open comb with the Perma-Sharp stainless. And this is a combo I've used recently and it went really well, so I'm revisiting it again today. And the Zenith horse brush. This is the extra soft variation that they have. Specifically, it says extra soft, and I really have liked it. It started out with a little bit of prickle to it, but it's different than either the boar or the badger, and in a good way. And so I'm enjoying using it. It will soften over time, those tips, but it'll take a while. But in the meanwhile, I'm kind of enjoying it anyway. We're going to be using Abbate La Mantia Garibaldi for today. I did not look up the scent notes on this one. This is generously provided by a fellow shaver, and very kind of him. And I know that I've enjoyed this soap base in the past. If Abbate uses the same, I've got the Batero soap base. I don't know if they change up a lot of their bases, but and so I'm confident the performance is going to be really nice. The Garibaldi scent is one that maybe has a little bit of a floral note to it, or just something fresh and light. You know, not really a feminine floral. And then there's some woody undertones there, and so it seems like it'll be a good one to start with. And since this is a sample, we can't really load from the small tub, can we? So I'll take my quarter teaspoon measure, and this is pretty much an even quarter teaspoon. So let's just see how that works out in terms of this soap company and their the soap base, meaning is what I meant to say, in terms of the how much lather we get for quarter teaspoon. I think that's a good standard amount. So many soaps, so many crops you don't need to use a quarter teaspoon, and a few of them need that. So I think it's a good one to start out with if you're unsure. There's some grittiness to it. Interesting. As I'm just kind of taking my finger here and spreading it around. Wonder what that could be. I guess that's something that's going to dissolve in water. I don't think a shaving soap is going to have a gritty type substance in it normally, right? You don't want an exfoliating shaving soap. As a reminder, it's probably been a pretty ubiquitous fact now for among some shaving circles, but don't don't do a scrub on your face right before a shave. And there we go. Any kind of exfoliation right before your shave is going to be redundant, because the shaving process itself is exfoliating. And so a lot of sensitive skin type folks have especially had problems and getting irritation. And all of a sudden they realize, wait a minute, I was exfoliating before the shave and then exfoliating during the shave because of the razor. And so then that was just too much for my skin. So definitely if you have skin issues and you're exfoliating before your shave and some kind of face scrub to clean your face. Cleaning your face is a good idea before the shave for a lot of people. But I think you're probably well served not to use a scrubbing, exfoliating type of face cleaner. So this Perma-Sharp Super Stainless, he's on its 7th or 8th use now. Doing great. The Guerilla open comb here has been a little bit of a mystery. When I got it, I picked it up because I liked my Guerilla solid bar so much, and I just rarely ever saw the open comb on the market, and I didn't know that I would like the Guerilla as much as I would come to back when it was on sale. I could have obviously purchased the open comb version back then, but I just didn't know. And so when it came on the used market, I snatched it up. I'm glad I did, but it's been a little bit of a mystery. I'm glad I did because I haven't really seen it in the secondary market after that. Maybe once, but I'm really glad that I jumped on that. But it's been a little bit of a mystery, a little bit of a frustration. I've put so many of my favorite blades in it and not had them do all that great. So I'm really glad that I've got a new metric in my database that talks about how the blade and the razor agree together, how well they work together, so that I can look back at all the shaves and figure out what were the better blades with this particular razor, since it does seem to be a little bit more finicky. It almost suffers from a crisis of identity because the Wolfman Guerilla Solid Bar is such a razor on the mild end of the spectrum that the open comb here, it seems to give it a little bit more aggression by a good step, and it's more than just a little bit, and so it's this mild razor that has, I don't know, it almost seems to not be able to handle that aggression quite as well. Maybe it's made for just people with tougher faces than me, but I just remember here in my mind, I think of so many times where I've used a razor blade in it and not been as happy. So it's probably just one of those situations where I just need to look in my information, look in my database, and find those razor blades that are working well, because I'm sure there's some in there very much like this Perma-Sharp Super. All right, got my face wet. The brush has been soaking now for about 15 minutes. I don't think horse brushes absorb as much water as boar do, but I'm pretty sure they absorb more than badger. So let's see. Got 2 days of growth here. Maybe one could say a little bit more than that. Very interesting, the scents of this brand. There was something like carrots. I think there was one that was like an earthy moss, but in a weird way. You know, they definitely choose their scents kind of strangely. I lucked upon the fact that the first one I ever tried from them was the Batero, which is a nice kind of mature leather type scent, and I really do enjoy it. I'm working this up so far based on just the water that we had in the brush. It's pretty stiff at this point. And let's add a little bit of water. Since we're starting out, added quite a bit. As the lather gets to where it's going to be, we'll obviously add in smaller quantities. The horse here has this nice easy give in the first part, maybe the first half of its bristle length. That reminds you of maybe a plush badger or a boar brush that has a long loft, you know. Very comfortable, and I think it's what helps to endear me to the brush, because it softens up the effect of the tips, which are not, I think they're probably about as soft as equating to some of the more firm High Mountain White brushes, not some of the softer ones like Sterling and Elite, but some of the ones on the other end that are a little more firm. Now, I haven't met a high mountain white that was prickly, and this horse did start out kind of prickly. I did have a Frank shaving, which I think is a very good value badger brush. I had a Frank shaving silver tip that started out prickly. Totally surprised me. But after 20 uses or so, it really did improve. It lost all that prickle, and now it's quite a good brush. There's something sweet right in the middle. And I don't guess I mean sweet. Fresh. It's almost like a citrus, but not really, with a orangey citrus twang to it. Oh, could it be something like Lang Lang? Or almost like an apricot or kumquat. You know, that type of scent. Not apricot, that's pretty distinctive. But it's mixed in there. It's not like that's what I'm smelling. I'm just trying to separate the differences. I'm still getting a little bit of that nice kind of unisex floral, but then a little bit of that woodiness that I was getting before. But that other thing, whatever, maybe red fruit could be along the lines of what it is. Just trying to analyze the difference there for you. Let's get a little more water on my face. And then let's work it up. See, very light touch on my face, this brush. So far, I can definitely recommend it, but I do only have 10 uses on this brush, or so. But I think it can only get better, right? I guess it's a good shave to mention exfoliation, because this is, with its slight bit of prickle, could definitely be a brush for a person who wants a bit of scrub. Well, this lather's looking very good. Might need a little bit of water in just a minute, but just a couple of drops might be all I need. Been very happy with this soap company with my Botero soap. I think they may be a little bit on the pricier side. I think they're a Spanish company or something like that, so it might be a little easier to get them in Europe. I know the wonderful Michael Friedberg is a fan of this company. I've seen him do a few different Abbate Mantia shaves. Matter of fact, he's the one that surprised me with how the company name was pronounced. He obviously knows what he's talking about, and I had no clue how to pronounce this name. Makes perfect sense, but the way he said it so quickly, I thought, what? And then once I thought about it, well, yeah, I guess so, and I guess that works out. Pretty cool. Thank you, Michael. All right, so the open comb here on the Guerilla. with the Perma-Sharp. See if it works as well as it did the other day. Not tugging, and this is on 2+ days of growth, so that's pretty comfy, relatively speaking. I can definitely feel it cutting through the hair. Which would be smoother if I were shaving a day's growth off. And then if you have a goatee, you can take a little bit of that off and pick a problem area and hit it again. So it seems that the open comb design here on the Guerilla takes it up a couple of notches. Like when you have a carve plate, the B plate, and you get an open comb, they say, and I kind of agree, that it bumps it up one letter in terms of aggression. If you've got a B solid bar and you get the B open comb, it resembles, in the feel of it, the C solid bar. Well, this takes quite a jump from the solid bar Guerilla, and I think maybe that's what it does, is it almost jumps up my whole range there. It becomes a razor that's not, it moves from the mild end of things to where I have to worry about efficiency and make sure my technique is right and approaching certain areas, but it's very comfortable. That's the Guerilla solid bar, and it jumps across my bell curve to the end. Probably not right at my edge of tolerance, like maybe the dart would be from Blackland. Definitely back off some from that, but it really jumps over quite a bit and becomes one that I have to be careful about my technique for the opposite reasons, so they don't irritate my skin. At least that's the way it's seeming with this particular blade, and probably a few others now that I think about it. Filling up the brush with lather again. So I definitely could shave with this soap, both in terms of the performance, which is feeling very good, but in terms of the scent, it's got a little bit of interest to it. Kind of makes you wonder what exactly it is. I think I smell some kind of green or grassy notes in there, as well as that red fruit or whatever it is that I'm identifying. And that red fruit's not a dominant scent. It's not super dominant. I'm having to look hard to find it. But it's not a strong scent, so you kind of have to look hard to find it all. Cross grain now for the second pass. And it is very comfortable. You don't have to rinse after every stroke. Matter of fact, see, I've just filled one side, so what you can do is switch over. But lately my lathers have been on the wet side, and I'm rinsing it away just to prevent it from doing that, making too much of a mess. And I've already got just a terrific shave here. The soap base is not leaving behind a lot of secondary slickness, but it does definitely recharge once you just spread a little bit around. I felt a little bit of grit right there from the soap base. You know, I told you it was gritty. Interesting. Wonder if it's some like natural ingredient that they're adding for marketing purposes or supposed exfoliation purposes. I don't know if any of you guys find yourself in the same position, but right now I'm looking at a very nice shave with perfect comfort. And I've only completed 2 passes. I really enjoy 3 passes. I've got more lather. I enjoy feeling the brush on my face. But I think I'm just going to stop because I think the only issue, well, you know what? Oh yeah, let's do this. Let's just do kind of a neck only pass just to kind of touch up my trouble spot. Because my cheeks definitely don't need any more. Got a nice close shave already. I think I may have dialed in this soap about as good as it can get. It kind of, I don't like this base quite as much as what I remember of the Botero. I don't know if it's the same base or if this is a slightly different one. It's not quite as nice as some of the good tallow soaps. I don't know if this base is tallow or not. I do like the scent, but the soap performance is just not good, not as good as many of the either top-notch vegan soaps or some of the better tallow soaps. But it gets the job done. It's got pretty good slickness. Kind of a watery kind of slickness. I guess that's quite not really a creamy, luxurious kind of slickness, you know. Of course, if you run your lathers a little bit drier than I do, then there may be perceived some more creaminess than what I'm experiencing. So maybe this particular soap base is made more for those kind of people, maybe face latherers who do tend not to hydrate as much as I do. All right, but that was a wonderful scent. I did enjoy that quite a bit. Not super low, not super high strength. I'd say it's more on the 3 or 4 in the scent strength out of 10. And but it's got some interest to it. It's got some nice traditional notes that don't make it seem so strange, but it's got maybe a little bit of twist or a few variations on some different aspects, and so I like it. Today I'm about to hit the sack right away, and so I didn't go for anything with too much smell on it. This is a very good balm, Aqua Velva Sensitive 5-in-1. I have it on authority from somebody with very dry skin. This is a very good, effective, healing, hydrating balm. I don't usually need such a balm, but I went ahead and picked some up anyway, just to try it out, be able to recommend it, that sort of thing. It does have a light generic kind of men's scent that's pretty nice. That's fairly pleasant. And it's one that I would consider in the last year or so. I thought, hey, let's not major in having a balm or a splash for every soap. I've never really been that attitude anyway, but that scent after your shave that carries on, let's let that come from an EDT, a cologne, and that's going to be less expensive than a balm. And then for the balm type purposes, right after the shave, we can just have a smaller number of aftershaves or balms. And this is one of those that it works really well. I have some of Sterling's, like Dunshire, doesn't have a strong scent, and so I can put that on after the shave, and it will do the healing aspect, and provide a little bit of scent. But then I don't have to worry about trying to match my immediate aftershave product, my immediate post shave, with the soap itself, because I know that the scent is coming later from the EDP or the EDT. And I think I'm liking that in general. I'm still working through plenty of splashes and focused balms, and so maybe I'll never run out of those. But I think it's a good thought. I don't really miss not having certain splashes for certain soaps. I mean, it is nice. So if I had a ton of money, I might do that, but I don't. All right. Well, there we go. A great shave. I do feel just a slight bit of tenderness in a couple of spots, but it's just almost not worth mentioning. The balm is going to heal it up just fine. We ended up using not a lot of water, 13 milliliters, something like that. And I did quit after 2 passes, but the amount of lather that we made seems about perfect. There's definitely stuff in here for a 3rd pass plus more, maybe 2 more if I really pressed it. And you can see that this lather is not nearly as it's not moving as much as a lot of my lathers do, where I like them. And so I think I stopped with this one at a good point. I think it would have just gotten, it's almost like one of those vegan bases that you don't want to push too much water into, because they just kind of lose their, I don't know, they start to just kind of break. They start to lose their slickness and creaminess. And so you can see that little blob I dropped in there is keeping its shape. The stuff up on the wall there is pretty thin, but it's not moving. Those tips aren't moving. So I think I probably hit it about right for this base. And it was definitely serviceable. It's a kind of a pretty lather. It feels good on the face, but it doesn't have that kind of creamy luxuriousness that a lot of my favorite soaps do. So that's that. The horse brush did great today. Like I said, that light feeling is kind of what you get, kind of a light scrub, and that's the softness is going to increase over time. As long as I manage the razor carefully today, and I did, I watched my technique, then I seem to be able to walk away with a high degree of comfort. So that's cool. Worked out today. And that's the shave. Update on the brush. This is what it looks like after a good towel stropping. It's got lots of easy flow through. It doesn't take too much to dry. It is starting to splay a little bit with these hairs here like the boars do. Boars do it a lot quicker, it seems. But I definitely look forward to more shaves with this guy. All right, there we go. I sure hope there's been something in this video that's going to help you along in your shaving journey. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You guys take care.